The SEA Games opens this weekend, but there's trouble brewing ahead. There is now concern about a potential delay because of a fast-approaching typhoon.
Now, that decision will be up to the Games Organizing Committee, according to local media. Kammuri is churning towards the Philippines. Its effects are forecast to hit late Saturday or early Sunday.
Among the places to be affected are Metro Manila and central Luzon, where many venues of the SEA Games are located. Now, for the latest, our correspondent Buena Bernal joins us from Manila. Buena, what are the chances then the SEA Games Organizing Committee that they may in fact suspend the commencement or suspend the ceremony in fact this Saturday?
Well, according to the Philippine Southeast Asian Games Organizing Committee Chief Operating Officer Mr. Ramon Suzara, it's all systems go for the opening ceremony of the 2019 SEA Games. It's the first time that the opening ceremony for the multi-sport competition will be held in an indoor stadium, so that takes care of moderate to heavy rains at least during the duration of the program. The organizers rented the 55,000-seat Philippine Arena in Bulacan Province, that's some 30 kilometers north of Manila. And that stadium is said to be one of the world's largest mixed-use indoor facilities. Mr. Suzara said that the main operations center of the Games will be at Clark, which is some 90 kilometers north of Manila, and the team based there is the one in charge of risk mitigation, including risks related to weather disturbances. That team is composed of various agencies, including the government agency in charge of traffic management in the regional capital, called the Metro Manila Development Authority, as well as the State Weather Bureau, Pag-asa. The Bureau says the incoming typhoon is expected to make landfall around the Bicol region or the Aurora province. Those are quite far, some 300 to 400 kilometers away from Metro Manila, but the Bureau says Metro Manila may still experience those heavy rains.
Buena, there have been questions over how prepared the committee is in terms of accommodation, food, other issues. Now, add to this storm. Are they prepared?
Organizers say there are competition managers for each of the 56 sports included for competition who are in charge of the contingency plans in case of any delays for one reason or another. Aside from the competition managers, there are venue managers that will secure the venues, and supposedly there should be backup venues for each of the more than 500 sporting events under those 56 sports for competition. Now, of course, the sporting events are spread out across the 12 days of the competition. Some end earlier, like artistic gymnastics. The final matches end around December 3 or 4. And then some start even later, like athletics, whose games start not until December 6. So because they're spread out across 12 days, any delays in one of those events does not necessarily mean a suspension of the entire competition. Of course, given the flack that the organizers have received right now, all eyes are on them as to how they will deal with logistical issues from here on. We win as one is the motto of the 2019 Southeast Asian Games. However, the sporting events won't be held in one area. They'll be spread across 3 hubs and other standalone venues. The 50-hectare New Clark City Sports Complex will serve as the main sports hub, while the other 2 are in Subic and Metro Manila. A whopping 6 billion Philippine peso or $118 million US budget has been allocated. However, this excludes infrastructure spending, such as renovating an old sports complex in Manila and constructing the new one north of the capital. The New Clark City Sports Complex features a world-class athletic stadium, aquatic center, the Athletes Village, and a cauldron that will stay lit during the entire duration of the Games. It's a structure not without controversy. It cost more than 50 million Philippine pesos, around $1 million US, money that critics say could have been used to fund sports development or athletes training. But organizers say this is the symbol of the event and that past hosts have spent even much more for their torch. This is the largest SEA Games in the biennial event's history, with a record high 56 sports included for competition. An opposition leader has questioned the amount of taxpayers' money spent and the long-term plan for the facilities after the Games. However, Finance Secretary Carlos Dominguez III says foreign athletes can train at these venues ahead of the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, boosting tourism.
This project, I think, is well spent, not only for the athletes, but for the pride of our country. And that we now have, for the first time in 80 years, we have a world-class sports facility. The last one we had, now world-class, was the Rizal Memorial Coliseum, which was constructed in 1934.
A few days before the formal opening of the SEA Games, and final touches are still ongoing. Lawmaker and organizing committee chairman Alan Peter Cayetano insists on the Philippines' readiness to host, but says problems are inevitable given the scale of the event.
I can tell you, handang-handa na tayo. Having said that, the reality of hosting games like this, where you have 1,000 foreign journalists here, 11,000 athletes and coaches, and 9,000 volunteers. We have 56 sports, more than 500 events, almost 60 ating venues. May day-to-day crisis management yan and day-to-day problems, no? Including traffic. So, doon ang sinasabi kong handa, prepared, but meron pong mga talagang kailangan harapin on a day-to-day basis.
Getting to and from the events could pose a challenge with venues scattered in more than 20 cities. Congestion on Metro Manila's roads is a major concern as more than 20 sporting venues are in the capital. Celine Pialago of the Metro Manila Development Authority says plans are in place to manage the traffic situation, including urging schools near the venues to suspend classes during the games.
We are confident that this will happen and go smoothly, but we can't be complacent. So far, we have identified the primary routes and the secondary routes. Just in case primary routes will have any untoward incident, at least we have this backup route, right? There will be no closure. We will apply a stop-and-go scheme. We will make sure that there will be no obstruction along the way. And so far, all of the areas in their sporting venues, we have already coordinated with the local government.
Just as the athletes are preparing, so are the authorities. But come D-Day, organizers say it's all about one thing, a display of the sporting prowess Southeast Asia has to offer. Buena Bernal, CNA, Manila.